There is a new Facebook group, and there are a lot of people asking questions in this group. And some of them I feel like maybe are for just engagement purposes, but others are kind of basic questions that maybe are worth a video. Maybe we've done them before, but hey, let's do them again. The one I'm looking at today is, do you ask your couples for a do not playlist for weddings, it looks like? If so, what are the most frequent songs on the list, just for fun? That's an engagement post. But I wanted to talk about whether or not asking for a do not playlist is the way to go. And it's my opinion that it is not. And there are a couple of reasons for it. This video today is brought to you by our friends at Hollywood DJ, located on 11th Street in Los Angeles, California. If you're looking for some DJ equipment, check out their website or give them a call. My pal Alan there will take care of you. They've got all kinds of stuff. Let them know what you're looking for. Chances are they've got it, and they will take care of you. Thank you so much, Hollywood DJ, for being one of our channel sponsors. Before I get into that, I want to share with you what I have going on this weekend. And the first list I have is a dinner request list. There's a lot of songs on here for dinner and cocktail. I also have some dance music here. It's the stuff they want for dancing. Now, I'm a DJ. I know what they like. I can fill in the blanks and program around the things that they like. So that's how I do it. But if I go back, there was a client I had one time, and I've told this story before, where she had an extensive do not playlist, and there were a lot of things on that list that you would typically play at a wedding, like the audience engagement songs, or the songs that people ask for, anything from line dancing to Baby Got Back to, all that kind of stuff. This was going back about 10 years. And I did her wedding, and I spent more time looking at the do not playlist, making sure that I wasn't doing anything wrong, than I did at the request list. And it went over fine. Now, 2 weeks later, her bridesmaid was getting married. And the bride from my first wedding was the bridesmaid at the second wedding. Now, at that wedding, I didn't get a do not playlist, and she wanted to hear a lot of that group active stuff. And I played it. And I noticed the bride from the first wedding was dancing out there for every single song. What the heck's going on here? So I asked her, what are you doing dancing all these songs that you didn't want at your wedding? And she said, well, I like the songs. I just wanted my wedding to be different than everybody else's. That's valid. I mean, when you think about it, most people don't make a wedding. They want something a little different. And I think in their minds, they feel like by taking all of the usual suspects off the list, the DJ is forced to do something different. I'd like to think that I do something different anyway. I try not to go for the low-hanging fruit when I'm performing at an event. Sometimes you have to do that group active stuff. Sometimes you get the requests. And what are you going to do? You got to engage with them. But the stuff I'm doing around it, I'm trying not to be typical as a DJ. I'm a pretty strong programmer, so that's probably in my favor. Another story I'll tell you is an agency that I work with used to give out this online form. And one of the questions on the online form was, do not play. Again, huge extensive list. I'm talking about a couple hundred songs. And they were all songs that you'd play at a wedding, I was concerned about this, so I had a meeting with them. I said, I want to talk about the do not playlist. And they kind of laughed. They were both college professors, by the way. And I'm like, yeah. You asked the questions, so we just gave a bunch of answers. So, well, do you really not want to hear any of the songs on this list? Well, no, you play whatever you want. You asked the question. I think asking for do not plays is baiting the client, making them overthink things. We're DJs, and, if you've been doing this for a while, you should be relatively strong with your programming skills. I think you're better served focusing on these kind of lists right here, the dancing lists, and playing around the request. If they say they like Pitbull, they probably like LMFAO and Rihanna and Calvin Harris and stuff like that too. You know this. You don't need this extensive do not playlist. And I will finish with this. If the client really has something that they don't want to hear for some reason, they're going to tell you. You don't have to ask them the question. An example of this would be, maybe it's somebody's second marriage. And they may say to you, look, the only thing we ask is don't play any Aerosmith. My first husband, he was a big Aerosmith fan, and there was a bunch of that at our wedding. I don't want any of that at our wedding coming up. Cool. No Aerosmith. Something like that is what I would consider a legit do not play request. And like I said, they're going to tell you. You don't have to ask them. If it's that important to them, they're going to tell you songs they don't want to hear. If you ask a client, hey, is there anything you don't want me to play at your event? The answer I get most of the time is this. Let me think about it and get back to you. Again, there wasn't anything that important that they didn't want to hear. But since you asked the question, they're going to answer it. And yeah, most of the time people are really just looking for something that's different than the last event they attended. They don't want to hear the same thing they've heard at every wedding for the last couple of years. Maybe all their friends got married in the last couple of years. They keep hearing the same songs over and over again. They don't understand why they're hearing the same songs over and over again, and they don't want to hear them at their event. Most of the time, the reason they're hearing the same songs over and over again is because those are the effective songs for the mixed audience that a DJ is playing for. Most of the time, that's the case. And it's not a problem if they don't want line dances or whatever. Here's something else that I will share with you before I wrap this video. A lot of my clients will say to me, they do not want the line dances. Don't play any of that. Okay. So, I don't. I play all kinds of other stuff. And it's effective. I didn't need the line dances. Sometimes they're the smart bomb. If you can't get anybody up and moving around, you play line dance, they'll come out. But that tool was taken from my toolbox, and that's okay. I have other tools to use, and I was able to make it happen. But then something really interesting happens late in the evening. Now here where I DJ, things typically go to midnight. They start around 6 if it's reception only, they end at midnight. So it's like a 6-hour thing. There's dinner, there's dancing. Usually by 10 or so, the old folks leave, and the young folks are hitting the bar, and they're drinking heavily. There have been many times where I've had those no line dance, no this, no that kind of lists that are unsolicited. They just give them to me. And I abide by them, but then at 11 or so, after they've had some cocktails in them, they come up and they say things like, hey, could you play Macarena? It's like, wait a minute, that's like a don't play. Yeah, I know, but we've been drinking and it was great and thank you, but now we just want to have fun. Look, I think it's a waste of time to ask for a do not playlist for those reasons. It's counterproductive. Focusing on the playlist that they give you, the songs they want to hear, and playing songs or programming songs around these songs is time better spent. But that's my opinion. Yours might be different, and that's okay if it is. But this is what I found, and it's working out real well that way. Not a single do not play at this 50th wedding anniversary yet. I don't know how it happened. I ended up downloading 5 Engelbert Humperdinck songs for this event. In full disclosure, they only asked for 4 that I didn't have. The 5th one, I downloaded on my own accord, The Last Waltz. And the reason I downloaded it is because back in the 80s when I was an assistant DJ, a lot of the lead DJs were playing that song for the older folks, for a waltz. I remember it, I don't have it, and I thought it might be fun to have in my library just in case. I've been doing After the 11 and it works really well, but maybe The Last Waltz would work too. Anyway, I'm done talking. I got to get to work and do some gig prep. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your likes and your comments and your subscriptions. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys tuning in so much. We'll see you next time. Practice and enjoy.